education director. Okay, we are recording. I am the education director at Intiman Theater, and I'm here with Professor Shelley Douma. Did you want to say hello, introduce yourself, Shelley?
Hi, everyone. I'm Shelley Douma, and I teach theater at Seattle Central. I also teach English, and we've been working with Intiman for a couple of years and having just a great time. So thanks for letting me be here with you.
And Shelley, will you help me out in keeping an eye on the chat? I don't know if you're able to see that.
Yes, I'll pull that up right now, so I'll have it going on.
Fantastic. As we go through, I encourage you all to have a piece of paper and a writing utensil, or have a little screen notepad up on your screen to take notes or to record the questions that you have. I'm gonna move through these slides and we'll try to give as much detail as we possibly can as we go through, but you may find that you have a question, in which case I say, yes, hold on to that question. Perhaps it will be answered as we move along in the presentation. And we'll also have time at the end to do like a formal Q&A. So I had not realized that we were 40 minutes in these breakout sessions, Shelley. I thought we were in here for 15. So
I thought so too. So that was kind of a surprise to me. So y'all, we'll do our best.
We will do our very, very best. Okay, so we are here to talk about the associate's degree with a direct transfer agreement in technical theater, with an emphasis in technical theater for social justice. And let's talk about what that actually means, because I see a lot of words up on the screen and I want to break things down to make it as palatable and understandable as possible. And Shelley, I would say that if you think that I missed something and you want to jump in, please do. I will be moving through here. So what we'll be doing essentially is talking about what this particular emphasis actually is. I will talk a little bit about what's involved in this emphasis in terms of classes and on the job hands-on experience. I'll be talking a little bit about what you can actually do when you complete your degree with this particular emphasis in technical theater for social justice. And then we'll spend a little bit of time at the end of the presentation to go over questions, like I mentioned before, and the application process. It's very, very simple. So the technical theater for social justice degree emphasis is part of or a directive of this 2-year, essentially like a full-time 90-credit degree track to earn an Associates of Arts degree with a direct transfer agreement. And what that essentially means is that during your time at Seattle Central, you'll be taking classes and earning specific credits in the taking of those classes that could potentially be transferred to a 4-year university toward a bachelor's degree in Washington State. So the idea is that all of these classes would be working toward the degree, and we're hoping that most of these classes would transfer toward a 4-year degree, if that is something of interest to you. You will be learning through this particular emphasis technical theater skills, which I'll go over in a moment, and then we're going to apply those skills to social justice issues in particular, and social justice issues that are very much at the forefront of careers in theater practice, performing arts, and any kind of live event, movies, TV, film. These training in particular equips you to go out into the world and tell stories responsibly. Through this particular emphasis, You will take classes at Seattle Central College with our professor, Shelley, and among other professors. And you'll also have the opportunity to apprentice or shadow with Intiman professionals as they are working on specific plays, specific productions, as well as other arts organizations affiliated with Intiman on those shows and events. So it's an opportunity to take what you are learning in the classroom and apply it to real life situations, real life professional arts organizations, building not only a skill set in theory and practice, but critically that kind of social capital that allows you to network and find those jobs once you complete your degree. And so upon graduation, the idea is you'd be ready to go. You could potentially apply to be an IATSE union member. And I want to explain what IATSE is for a moment. You could transfer into a four-year college program, like I mentioned before, or you could do both. And I want to tell you a little bit about IATSE before we move on. So IATSE is the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, moving picture technicians, artists, and allied crafts of the United States, its territories, and Canada. IATSE union members, and I'm quoting from their website, work in all forms of live theater, motion picture, film, and television production, trade shows, exhibition, television broadcasting, concerts, as well as equipment and construction shops that support all of these areas of the entertainment industry. So you may be asking yourself, even with that very, very detailed, excessively long description of technical theater and IATSE, like what actually is technical theater? So I was thinking to myself, like, well, how would I break this down and explain it to somebody at its most basic form? And some of you may have done technical theater in your high school, or you're already a professional out in the world, and this might be totally new. So indulge me for a moment. We are looking at a photograph of a production done by Intiman Theater in 2014 called Angels in America. And you will see that there are three human beings in this photo of the production, and we can assume that those are actors in the middle of a play, but there is a whole bunch of other stuff all around them. And we as an audience are essentially an audience looking out onto the set of this production. So if you were to talk a little bit about what you see in this picture of all the things around these actors, I encourage you, you can throw it in the chat, you can write it down for yourself, or you could just take a moment and observe, what do you actually see in this photograph? Because it has a lot to do with technical theater. Any brave souls want to type something into the chat? Lights, I love it. I see a whole bunch of different lights on this stage. Anything else? Am I going to have to call on the professor?
Oh my, well, the one that, what draws my eye is the person who's hanging in the middle of the stage. What the heck?
Yeah. So that person is definitely hanging from the middle of the stage. We need some special equipment for that. I see all kinds of different set pieces on this stage. I see some beds. I see some columns. Oh, Beezus, thank you so much. Someone in those angel wings suspended on wires to make sure that it looks like they're flying. Yes, absolutely. I see clothes on those actors. And I see like very specific kinds of flooring and a background there behind those columns. So thank you for participating, for playing with me today, because I want to say that technical theater includes all of those non-performance crafts needed to make a performance happen. And if we think about that for a moment, human beings need to make the things that we see in these productions. We need human labor to do those Grecian columns, perfect pieces, through carpentry and painting. We need to see those lighting instruments, or maybe not, to create a specific kind of aesthetic on the stage. We need electrics. We need costumes to tell us the time and place of the production. We need sound, the musical score that will help evoke a certain kind of mood or tone, projections, what kind of images we see up in the performance space, wigs and makeup to indicate what those characters are like, as well as special effects, which could be something like smoky, spooky, what is it, fog machine or a strobe lights. We need people to use those to be able to effectively make them happen, and we need people to build these areas of in the playing space. So all of these things, all of that labor creates technical theater. So the question is, if we're studying technical theater and all of those pieces in the telling of a story, what does that have to do with social justice? And in the industry, in the theater industry and performing arts in general, whether it's film or TV, I mean, we are having a moment where we're talking a lot about how our actions in the telling of these stories can serve social justice issues or essentially not. So we're thinking about the kinds of questions that we can answer and the kinds of actions we can take to create a more just society. So I've just broken down a couple examples here, and that can include environmental decisions in terms of what we do in with waste when we're painting or using glue or glue guns and staples and wood. It is thinking about costuming with a specific cultural lens. So being culturally authentic to individuals and where they come from, thinking about lighting, makeup, and wigs to honor ethnicity and skin tone, thinking about making the right choices to represent a particular culture rather than appropriate. We're thinking about audio engineering for accessibility and inclusion, set building for accessibility, and we're also thinking about how we begin to talk about inequitable practices and challenge those practices so that we can create a more just world and a more just United States in this instance. So if you are taking your technical theater classes and you're learning all the skill set and you're applying this to social justice, you're going to come out of this degree and have a firm foundation to work in a variety of fields and avenues. Just some examples here of where you could potentially put your talents, whether that's in concerts. You think if you've been to a concert before, there's a lot of audio equipment, for example, a lot of special effects, live theater, obviously, and working very, very closely with Intiman professionals, a Tony Award-winning theater company, will give you a lot of tools and connections to get out there and work in other live theaters. If you're interested in film and TV, there are a lot of avenues to go in terms of technical theater, trade shows and conventions, events, virtually all these kinds of behind the scenes crafts. And I think about a good friend of mine who studied technical theater, and this isn't up here on the slide, but I wanted to share. I mean, he builds sets for fashion shows and runways, and now he does like set designs for department stores like Nordstrom. So there are a lot of opportunities to put your artistic skills and your brains and your hands to work here. These are such fancy transitions we've got. So what do you learn? I feel like I might be repeating myself, but I want to say it one more time. In addition to studying topics related to social justice, and Shelley's going to talk a little bit more about that as we kind of get through the presentations, you're going to focus specifically on these areas. So I guess that does break things down a little bit more. You're going to focus on lighting, electrics, sound, costuming, scenic carpentry and painting, projections, and other forms of digital media. And I would say that as you enter this particular emphasis and you start your work, you might find that you gravitate toward one area, but as you're learning other aspects of technical theater, maybe that's where you want to go, or maybe there'll be opportunities for you to build more than one specialty. So there are a lot of opportunities to play and also find a focus that feels good for you. Woo! Got a little video here. Oh, sorry, I got excited. So that's a little bit of an example of technical theater in motion. So who will you learn with? Something that's very special about this particular emphasis is that you'll have the opportunity to take classes with a cohort of your peers. And when I say cohort, I mean a group of people with the same interests as you. And you'll begin, if you're interested in this emphasis and you want to enroll, you'd begin in the fall and you'd take 1 to 2 classes with your, sometimes 3, I think, with your cohort through these 6 quarters. And a quarter system that may be something different than you're accustomed to. You might have been working in a semester system. A quarter system is just a shorter breakdown of a semester, which essentially means that you'd have a fall quarter at the beginning where you take certain classes, but then rather than taking the same classes all the way from January to June, that's broken down into 2 segments. So you take a certain number of classes in the winter, and then you would go into the spring and take new classes. In a moment, we'll kind of break down what those classes will look like, but I wanted to share that at the beginning of this particular emphasis, there is, you know what, I'm going to hold that. I'm going to hold on that and just say that the question that comes up a lot, students ask me is what is the time commitment? Chiefly, we have students taking 2 to 3 classes per quarter, but that can change depending on your needs and your career goals, and that will inevitably change the timing of your degree, and you'd work potentially with an advisor to make sure that that feels good for you. And now I want to take a moment and talk a little bit about who you'll learn from, and then Shelley will kind of talk about that particular pathway for the cohort in the Technical Theater for Social Justice emphasis. So in addition to fabulous, fabulous professors at Seattle Central College, you'll also have the opportunity to shadow or apprentice Intiman's professionals as they're working on a show, as well as take master classes with these special guests that we've brought in at various times. So this is just a little collage of the faces of some of our master class instructions. And I'll share with you just 3 of what their specialties and emphasis are. So for example, you might take a master class with Marcus Harrison Green, who is a social justice writer recently awarded a Human Rights Leadership Award. You might have an opportunity to take a masterclass with Lex Marcos, who made a career designing sets both in the Philippines and the United States. Or you could take a masterclass with Erin Bednarz, who does sound design, in addition works as a musician and a live DJ. So lots of different areas of expertise, a lot of different opportunities to learn from different people. So I have a slide here on the general education pathway, and I'm wondering if I can shoot that over to you, Shelley, to talk a little bit about what these classes actually look like and the experience of moving through each quarter as they progress.
Sure, y'all, I'll do my very best. I got this. Yes, so the great thing is we're in the middle of our first year of our first cohort. So we're making adjustments, we're making things work really well. In the first quarter, so fall quarter, you will take Drama 131, which is Introduction to Technical Theater. And it's a great class. In this class, you won't do a lot of hands-oning yet, but you and your cohort and some other students too get to go do backstage tours and meet technical directors all over the city. The man who teaches this class, Daryl, has been working in technical theater in Seattle for probably 40 years, and he knows everyone. Really, he does. And he's hysterical. He tells these wonderful stories. Students have been taking this class from him for many years now. And it's often someone's like, people are always like, that's my favorite class. And I'm like, well, I wish my class were your favorite class, but I guess Daryl's classes are good too. So anyway, it's super fun. You'll really get to know your cohort well because you're going around the city, meeting all sorts of people, reflecting on your experiences. You'll also then take Drama 101, which is Introduction to Theater, and that's with me. And I think it's my favorite class, so too bad for Daryl. Anyway, in Intro to Technical Theater, I do like a really quick overview. Well, it's a quarter-long overview. We do a little theater history, but we also do kind of an introduction to what do costumers do? What does a set designer do? What does lighting look like? How are actors trained? And so each week there's a different focus on a different job in the theater, and you'll get to practice doing all of them. Super fun, not threatening. I think it's okay. In addition to those classes, you'll probably take English 101 or another core class at Seattle Central. And those classes, you can try to sign up for them with your friends from the cohort, but generally those classes are just ones that you get to jump into. And having an advisor, I know Liz can advise, but we also have advisors who are trained in this. So it's really good to talk to an advisor. If you're coming in, I know we had one student who's already, he'll be a sophomore next year and is maybe thinking about joining. All the classes, well, many of the classes you took this year might count. So if you already have English 101, you don't have to take English 101 separately. Yes, acting and theater are also available separate from technical theater. And I'm happy to have you in my classes. But you can also take them if you're in the technical theater and social justice program, or not program, emphasis. So it's kind of fun. I mean, you get a really broad overview. I figure if you're thinking about working in theater as a, you know, a carpenter or whatever, it's kind of nice to have a little bit of history of what you're working in. So it's nice. Anyway, there's a plan, like each quarter, there are really specific classes that you really do have to take with a cohort. Drama 131, Drama 140 is our second quarter class. Students in that class, it's a hands-on sort of introduction, and the teacher who's teaching it, he goes, you kind of go from the inception until opening night in that class. So you're learning how they build and paint and hang lights and focus lights and set up sound. And I think the spring class, from what I can understand, hasn't been taught yet. But from what I understand, it is the class that starts with opening night and talks about everything that happens after that. So you really do, you get an overview, even if you're just interested in hat making, you get the overview, you get hands-on in every little area. And I think that's important because in theater, being able to adapt and to say, yes, well, I think I probably could do that. It gets you more jobs and also gives you a little bit more variety. And variety might not be that important in the first couple years, but by year 10 or 11 or 15, you might want to do something besides hats. You've tried it before. I don't know. I like hats myself. The second year of the program, the emphasis is apprenticeships and internships. And Intiman is really going to be taking a lot of those. But if you are interested in hat making, we'll stick with our example. And if the Seattle rep is doing a hat heavy show, we might be able to get you an internship with the rep that quarter so that you can really work with a milliner and like, man, nail that down. Also then get a relationship with that person, that professional. So when another hat heavy show comes on, instead of being an apprentice or an intern, you might get hired. Not as the high professional, but as someone who's hired and getting paid and working. So that's our second year, is really focused on getting you internships, and you're allowed to intern just in one area. I just want to do lighting, and you'll do lighting with, maybe in 3 different places. Very helpful to make a lot of contacts in the city. Or you might say, no, I want to do lighting and sound and hat making. I hear hat making is really cool. I have no idea, guys. In any case, if that's what you want, the second year is really built like how you want to do it will help you do that. So I think, while you're doing the internships, you're also taking the rest of the classes to finish out your AA degree. And the goal is by the end of your second year, you have really a strong understanding of technical theater and working in a professional setting, because you have 3 internships. And I can't overstate how important an internship and 3 internships will be in getting you to understand how you act in a professional setting, but also, what expectations can you have of them? Like, we want everyone to be treated fairly, and we want to make sure you know what you're getting into. So I think that's kind of the breakdown. The other classes, the classes you'll take that are not in theater, are really geared around, first of all, getting you that lovely AA degree, really important, but also they have focuses in social justice. So you'll take a philosophy class that has an emphasis in social justice. You'll take sociology and looking at social justice. And I think we have a math class as well. And math can be really scary for people in the AA degree, but this math class is like made for you. It's like, what do you need in technical theater? And frankly, you do need math. Like, if you're a carpenter, you better have some math skills. If you're going to be an assistant, whatever, like, you're going to have to be able to put together a budget for the costumes or for the set, or how to buy paint, all those things. And the math class we've developed can help you with all those things. So it's not wasted. I really think we worked hard that every class you're taking will contribute to your overall education and really give you a great, a center, a grounding in social justice, in addition to all the fantastic technical theater stuff you're learning. So, is that what I was supposed to do, Liz?
That was so perfect.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad. Phew, I practiced in the car on the way home from work.
Thank you so much. I feel like that's a great overview of some of the classes that you would take in this emphasis. And also you'll see in that second row there how that aligns with the apprentice and shadow opportunities that you would have in this focus through the partnership with Intiman Theater. And that point about internships is really, really great, because the more people you know, the more opportunities to shine. so that people will think of you when they have job opportunities. Really, really important. Thanks. And we are coming toward the end of our presentation. And I know we're going to go back into the main room in just a few moments. So I want to share this with you all. If what you heard today sounds like it's for you, or you think that it might be for you, I threw the link here in the chat for the application for this particular emphasis. So you need to apply to Intiman Theater so we get to know you a little bit and understand what your goals are. And then go ahead.
Is this for the technical theater course, or?
This is for the technical theater emphasis. Yes. And
Okay.
then
it's just I'm a little confused because I'm not really sure, like, would we also be learning like other theater stuff, not just technical theater?
Yes. So you'd have the opportunity to take some other classes, other drama classes.
Okay.
And I just threw my email in there. You can send me an email if you have additional questions, or you're welcome to text me at the phone number there as well. Because I want to make sure, that you all have the info that you need. And I know we are coming on the last minute here, but are there other questions that Shelley and I might be able to answer for you? Okay, maybe we did our duty. Please check out the application, check out our website, intiman.org, and let us know if this sounds good to you, because we are taking applications through August, but you'd want to get that in as soon as you can so that you can be looked at, your application can be prioritized. All right, we have 15 seconds. Thank you.
You guys are the best. Thank you for coming to the presentation. And Liz, you're amazing. Thank you for your fabulous work.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Oh, welcome back, everybody. Awesome. We're so glad that you're here. I hope that all of the breakout sessions were informative. I appreciated everybody moving on over. And thank you again to all the presenters for the time this evening, and really being just resources for everyone there to hopefully ask questions and just absorb all the cool stuff that you're doing. So welcome back, everybody. I'm going to put a link into the chat, and you're going to see this link, by the way, several times over and over, and really on behalf of all three of the colleges, Seattle Central and North Seattle and South Seattle. We really appreciate you being here. So this is your next step as a prospective student, as someone who would like to get more information, is really to be able to go into this page and just fill out a handful of data points. Really what we want to do is be able to get you to the next step, what is best for you. And so you're going to and by all means, feel free to throw in those extra links there to presenters. So we really, again, want you to go in here, open it up now, and be able to drill down. Again, this is so important. And next page, please. In other words, we want to be able to keep in touch with you and make sure the programs that you're interested in can keep in touch with you too. So where do you go after that? Well, you're welcome to rewatch any presentations. We have some stuff from last year as well that's out there, and we'll be adding to. So today's presentations will continue to populate on this page, and you'll see the presentations for the rest of the week. Come on here as they're available, and same thing for next week as well. So next page, please. All right. So we want you to join us for another session. And why are we putting this out there? You're here tonight. You're like, okay, I'm here. In the first session. Why would I come back? Well, you may have a friend and family member who is interested in one of these other areas. Yourself, you may be interested in one of these areas. And my colleagues will be emceeing, and we'll have a great number of experts, faculty, and advisors here to be able to guide prospective students into the right programs. So you see a pretty wide variety. Again, hearkening or going back to that page that we saw maybe 45 minutes ago or so, listing all of our programs and all of the areas. So again, we're just going to keep drilling this in there. Do go to, do go and put in your feedback now. At least open it up before the Zoom session closes. All right, so next slide, please. So keep exploring. We want you to keep exploring. We want you to be able to ultimately find out more about these programs. We offer some really cool stuff. And I wanted to pass along too, this is the link, the YouTube link that Professor Tanya had sent along to me earlier. And it's about a little under 2 minutes. And it shows just some of the really cool stuff that that is available for students' use with apparel design. So we want you to continue exploring. We have a lot of programs between our 3 colleges, and remarkably affordable programs, programs that are industry specific, programs that have met, thousands and thousands of students' needs over the last year. So, and before that, certainly as well. So all throughout this week and next week, we have the Discover Seattle Days. And then of course, we're running a next set of events in April. So we definitely want for you to be able to find out more, definitely. So ultimately, do you have any questions before we part? Any questions on what we're doing? Anything that is just burning that you need to have answered? And you may not. All right. So again, that go to seattlecolleges.edu/discover feedback. That's going to be your next place. Yes.
Okay, you just might want to mention that link is broken and that we'll be emailing it out to students afterwards. So just to make sure to check their emails and follow that link that they get later. Apparently the one right now is not working.
Oh, well, apparently the link is not working, but we will definitely get that out. And when you do receive, and thank you very much, I appreciate that. And when you do get that, fill it out. Again, we want to stay in touch with you. It's really important to be able to do that. We have a lot of just awesome programs, and certainly, you've heard from the experts tonight. They're eager to talk with you. So without further ado, I don't want to hold you up from the rest of the evening, but I definitely want to make it clear we have lots of resources for you. We are very interested in being a resource for you. And we're also happy to get you to the right people. So you're always welcome to email any of us or call us, and we're always happy to get you to the right person. Thanks so much on behalf of North Seattle, Seattle Central, and South Seattle colleges, and our faculty and our advisors and professional staff. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate an hour of your time. We wish you all the best, and we certainly would love to have you ask more questions. We are here for you. Thanks so much. Have a great evening, everybody.
Goodbye, everyone.